Hey everyone, it's Brittany and Katie with the Q team in Rochester, New York. We're back today to talk about a hot topic in the world of real estate right now.
Just in the world.
Which
is what everyone's talking about.
Which is, how the heck do I get my offer accepted?
That's the mystery.
That's the face we all make.
So as most people know, or anyone that's in the real estate market knows, that it is a crazy seller's market and it is very, very difficult for buyers to get their offer accepted. So we wanted to discuss today, because this is a ever-changing, kind of week by week thing of what are the new tactics that buyers are using.
Working?
Right. How, like, the buyers that are winning, what are they doing to get their offer accepted? I think number one point is it's really important to have an agent working with you that is really actively in this market. They do this full time and they are working with a lot of buyers that are making offers regularly, that they can know what's working and the feedback and how they are getting their offers accepted or what's not working.
Exactly. Because like we said, it's changing so quickly that what was working, let's call it a month ago, for our buyers, we've had to adjust. We've had to make changes to the way that we're writing offers so that we can be successful. So first, obviously, price.
It's the biggest thing. I mean, houses are going 30, 40, 50, 60 plus over asking.
Yeah.
It kind of depends on the price range, the area, the actual house, and what it has to offer, on how high that number is. But buyers are needing to be prepared to really, really step up price-wise.
It's safe to assume that there will be multiple offers on whatever house is listed for the foreseeable future, which is unfortunate for buyers, but that's just the world that we're in right now. So we have to accept it as our new reality, and we have to learn that this is what our market looks like. If I want to be a homeowner, this is what I'm competing with. This is what I have to do. So really knowing how high above the list price we have to go, either straight in or with our escalations. There's no more of this like $5,000 over.
So also, I think that is important for you, for your mental expectations, and also knowing what your top price is that you want to pay in general, budget wise. And then we got to be well below that, knowing that, if our top price is $200, we should be looking at, maybe $150.
That's a good point too.
Really understanding that, if you're looking at $200, you're doing yourself a disservice, because you're just kind of setting yourself up for disappointment.
Because at that point you're comparing to something that a $200,000 listing isn't going to sell for $200,000.
Right.
So if you qualify for $200,000 and that's what your max that you want to spend, you're really looking at mid to upper 200s in terms of value of the house.
So that's, factor number one.
That's number one.
Another big thing we have talked about multiple times in the past, but buyers are almost to the point of being forced to waive their home inspections. Obviously not something that most buyers want to do, but is sort of, again, the reality that we're living in, that if you want to have a home inspection, you include that in there, it's going to be very tough to get an offer accepted. So we, as your agents, will do our due diligence, and we will take every precaution to make sure that we are mitigating that risk of what a home inspection is kind of there to protect you for. We'll do what we can to make sure that you feel as confident as you can doing so, moving forward, knowing that you have a secure, safe, and sound house. There's
no major issues that are safety, health, structural, best that we can see.
Exactly.
But I forgot what I was going to say, so I'm just going to
All right, so we'll move on. If you think of it, jump in.
I'll jump in.
The next one is really the financing of this. With houses going so far over asking, that's becoming a really big piece for sellers. So cash offers are very prevalent and are mostly the ones that are winning if they are in the ball game of the multiple offer situations.
And the reason for that is because there's no appraisal with a cash offer. So there is no bank saying, we're going to evaluate the house ourselves to determine a value, and that's the max that we're going to loan you for this house. That's why cash speaks so heavily to sellers, especially in a market like this.
Right, because they know the price that they're offered is the price they're going to get no matter what. There's not a bank that's going to tell them, nope, sorry, won't give you that much money for that house.
So if I am going for a mortgage, how can I compete against the cash offer?
So we're seeing percent downs matter, because the higher percent down, typically the more financially secure a buyer is, and usually the appraisal is a little bit less strict. the most recent thing that we're seeing winning offers is buyers agreeing to make up an appraisal difference. So what that means is that if an appraisal comes in low, let's say you say, I'm going to offer $200,000 for that house. The appraiser comes in and says, that's only worth value-wise on our end with our appraisal for $185,000. There's a $15,000 swing between what the bank's going to loan the buyer and what the buyer said they were willing to pay. So if a buyer agrees, I will cover that difference. If that appraisal comes in low up front, then a seller, it's almost essentially it's the same as a cash offer, because they know they're committing to that price no matter what the bank says or what the appraisal comes in at. So again, something that's a little bit tough for buyers to swallow, but that is the reality of what is working right now.
I just keep telling my buyers, I'm so sorry. I know.
It's tough.
It is tough. But the reward of being a homeowner is, it's huge. Even in a market like this, it's still so affordable.
Right. And the interest rates are still so low, and you are building equity, and you are making sure that you have something that is financially secure, and your payment's going to stay the same. And we're not expecting, based on what the experts are saying, that there is a bubble, or that the market's going to crash, or that prices are going to retract crazy low. So, know that securely going in, that this is still a great time to buy.
It's still a good investment.
We digress.
Yes, here we are. Another way that we're seeing that there's only so many factors of an offer that we can change to stand out against another offer. One of those being the deposit amount. We're telling people to your closing costs for the bank. Put that for your deposit.
Right. We're seeing 20, 30,000 plus deposits where you're just saying up front, like, I'm acting in good faith. I'm putting this deposit down towards the house if my offer is accepted, and that just comes off your closing costs. You're either paying it now or later. So
I tell people, you're just prepaying your closing costs.
Exactly. So as long as nothing crazy happens, you don't just change your mind for no legal reason to get out of the contract, that's just going to your closing costs anyway.
Yep.
So great.
Another easy one is, if you have any flexibility on your closing date, match it to what the seller needs, regardless of what it is. If the seller needs a 30-day close, fine,
make it happen.
30-day close. If the seller wants a 60-day or a 90-day close, fine. Just make it happen.
Right. If they need a rent back,
give it to them.
But really, they're a little bit in the driver's seat. A lot of it.
They are in the driver's seat.
So we are essentially need to figure out, in order to get our offer accepted, if we're not willing to match what their timing needs are, and another buyer will, that could be a deciding factor. And lastly, just making your offer as clean as possible. No contingencies, no grants, no, stuff like that. That's going to deter a seller. They want as clean of an offer as possible, with little strings attached.
And because they're getting them. So that's what we have to do.
So unless you want to try to offer your left kidney to the seller
if
they need a transplant, or who knows,
bone marrow,
right, your firstborn child, we'll be as creative as you're willing to be. But these are kind of what we're seeing right now, is what's working in this market. We're here to guide you through. We are making offers on a daily basis, and while we are getting some accepted, our buyers are feeling the same things, but we're able to guide them to eventually come out on top.
And I will say that with every loss of an offer, both us as the agent and our buyers learn. So we're asking the listing agent, what was it about our offer that deterred us from being accepted?
Number one.
And a lot of the times, not every time, but a lot of the times they're telling us, it was price, it was terms, it was the other one was cash, whatever it was. But now we know if there's something that we could have improved on, we can do it better for next time.
Right. Or we can figure out an alternative if we are limited on any of those options. If we have a price cap, or if we only have so much money to be able to put down, we will explore all our options, knowing what we're up against, or we'll get a little creative on what we're looking at. Maybe we find something that didn't immediately sell. They're out there. They're few and far between, but
but there are some.
Right. So we will get creative. We will guide you through this, and ultimately you will come out on top if you got us working for you.
That's right.